Dara Khosrowshahi wants to make something clear: the new Uber will not look like the company he inherited. Speaking publicly for the first time since he became Uber's chief executive in August, Mr. Khosrowshahi painted a rosier vision of the future of his company. His aim to escape from the shadow cast over the ride-hailing giant after a series of scandals shook the company to its core and resulted in the eventual ousting of former chief executive and co-founder Travis Kalanick. The culture went wrong, the governance went wrong, the board went in a very bad direction, Mr. Khosrowshahi said in conversation with Andrew Ross Sorkin at the Deal Book conference on Thursday. I think winning gives some excuses for bad behavior. Indeed, when Mr. Khosrowshahi stepped into the role in August, he had to deal with a series of scandals. Employee attrition was at a high. The company's board of directors was rife with infighting. The company faced no fewer than 5 federal inquiries into its business practices. And, moreover, the brand and what Uber stood for was taking a beating. The Delete Uber hashtag surged across social media earlier this year, resulting in more than 500,000 deleted accounts. Now, Mr. Khosrowshahi is trying to put his own imprimatur on the company and what he calls Uber 2.0. He confirmed, for the first time publicly, that Uber is working on securing a multi-billion-dollar investment from SoftBank, the Japanese mega-conglomerate angling to get into the American rider-hailing market. He hinted at pulling back on Uber's long-espoused strategy of spending enormous amounts of money in order to gain market share in certain areas. Perhaps most important, he has embarked on an apology tour of sorts in cities and countries around the world, trying to repair the damage done by Mr. Kalanick and his contentious, bare-knuckled approach to dealing with regulators in new markets. I think we were generally immature with how we deal and dealt with regulators, Mr. Khosrowshahi said. He spent the past few weeks traveling to London, where Uber is facing the threat of being banned, as well as Brazil, where Uber narrowly escaped being regulated as if it were more like a taxi service. He has not eschewed the company's history entirely. Mr. Khosrowshahi nodded to the passion it took for Mr. Kalanick to get Uber to the near $70 billion transportation behemoth it is today. Mr. Khosrowshahi said he still talks regularly with Mr. Kalanick and that he would be crazy not to rely on Mr. Kalanick's genius and tenacity to take the company forward. But make no mistake, Uber is Mr. Khosrowshahi's company now, not Travis Kalanick's. And Mr. Khosrowshahi said HES made clear he needs some distance from the former CEO to do his job, and to do it well. That's especially true if he wants to make good on his goal of taking the company public in 2019. I've got to put my stamp on the company, he said. We're on our way. A version of this article appears in print on November 10, 2017, on page B5 of the New York edition with the headline: New CEO laments Uber's immature past, aims to make his own mark.